Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting Gear Reviews, straight up guns and gear reviews. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can tell, I'm excited. I've got some Gamo brake barrels out and we are going to do some power testing. I've been kind of meaning to do this for a while. I've got a pretty good selection of Gamo brake barrels and just two of them here in my hand, a couple more leaned up over there against the gun shed, and actually many more inside the gun shed there. But today we're going with 22 cals and I want to test all of the newest versions here that I've got. So I've got out all my swarms. I've got my Gamo Swarm 10X Gen 2, the Magnum right here, the Gamo Swarm Bone Collector 10X Gen 2. I've got the Gamo Swarm Maxxim and the Swarm Fusion back there leaned up against the shed, and we're just going to be swarming it up today. We are going to shoot these guys over the chronograph. We're going to shoot them into some 18 gauge steel little pieces of metal that I've got, kind of see how much bigger of a dent the Magnum can put in there than some of the lesser powered models. And to kind of top it all off, we're going to see which one of these can go through the most gallons of water. So I've got like a bunch of bottles of water, big gallon jugs of water over there. And I thought it'd be really interesting to see not only which could make the biggest dent in a piece of steel, but which can push a pellet through the most water. You know, a softer target. Just kind of see, does the Magnum really have what it takes to go through 3 or 4 or 5 bottles of water versus the Bone Collector or the Maxim? Or does it really not make that much of a difference on something like water? I don't know. Do you guys think this will be fun to see? I hope so. Bam! Stay tuned to the end of the video, because if these guys can't go through very many bottles of water, I've got an air gun that I think can probably punch it through, I don't know, hopefully 5 or 6. And that's going to be the grand finale, so make sure you stay tuned for that. That should be a whole lot of fun to kind of cap this video off for today. So let's get right into it. Let's shoot these guys over the chronograph first so we can run some numbers and see where we're at for power. Let's go do it. Just want to make a quick mention here that for the testing today, I'm going to be using these H&N Hornet pellets. In Gamo brake barrels, I've really found these to be both very accurate and a super penetrator. So that's what I'm using in all the tests, from the chrono numbers that we're looking at right now, through shooting the steel, and then all the way through shooting the water. Going to be all done with these H&N Hornets. All right, so what we're looking at right here is what was accomplished using the Swarm Maxxim, putting out right at about 15 foot-pounds. Now, I figured that the Fusion would be right about the same, but turned out the Fusion was actually a little bit less, only around 12 foot-pounds with the Fusion. So got right the same consistent right there at about 560, 570 for the 2 shots right here. So let's go ahead and check out, see what this was able to do on the steel. Not too bad, really just about the same again as the Maxim, a couple foot-pounds less. Now the Bone Collector did definitely step it up a little bit. Let's see what we got here on the Bone Collector. About 18 foot-pounds, right at about 700 feet a second. Definitely not bad, pushing that 16.2 grain H&N Hornet pellet. The Bone Collector really does seem to like these Hornet pellets. By the way, guys, if you're looking for a good, accurate pellet to shoot out of the Bone Collector, give those Hornets a try. Put a good smack on the steel. Definitely made a little bit more of a dent than obviously the first 2 options did, and you can see that pellet really just comes apart and just shatters when it hits. But nothing compared to the Magnum. First shot with the Magnum came in at 844, and the second shot in the Magnum here came in at 834. So we're right at about 26 foot-pounds pushing on the Magnum, and you can see there is a big difference. Look at the smack that thing makes, and really just watching the slow motion here, just how much you see the lead fragmenting off when it hits that steel surface. Order of power here, we've got the Fusion, Swarm Maxxim, Swarm Bone Collector, and Swarm Magnum. Now I'm going to take a couple different angles of each of these and just put them up here on the screen for you guys with the label of what gun it was underneath it. And I think you'll be able to get a good idea just looking kind of at front and back, really how much bigger of a difference we're looking at from going from the Fusion all the way up here to the Magnum. Definitely a big difference. So check it out. All right, so here's a little bit more of a close-up view of what we did with the Swarm Maxxim. You can see there is a little bit of a dent that's sort of coming out the back, but look at how much more it is here with the Swarm Magnum. You can see even in the front, there's a significant amount more of deformation to the steel there, and then in the back, really pops it out quite big. I mean, especially compared to the Maxxim. Here's a view of both. You can really see the difference. I mean, look at how much more the Magnum is pushing out that steel than the Maxxim. All right, so I want to pop in here real quick after that chronograph section and just touch on something that going from a lower elevation to a higher elevation is going to decrease the velocity that you get out of a brake barrel. Not just Gamo, but any brake barrel. And it's because this ram inside of here is pushing essentially the ambient air. So if the ambient air is thinner because you're at a higher altitude, you're going to develop less pressure by pushing that ambient air, and therefore you've got a lower velocity. So when you guys are looking at these velocity numbers I showed you just now today, keep that in mind. You might be getting much higher numbers where you're at because you're probably at a lower elevation. I'm at about a mile high. There you have it. All right, I want to take a quick minute to interrupt this video and call out my sponsor, LAPG, or LA Police Gear. I've got this super cool backpack here that I'm going to be using in a future video to show you guys my bug out bag, everything that's going to go in that. And of course, you got to include in your bug out bag a good quality knife. I've got the EDC folding knife here from LAPG that's going to be going in there. This is a ceramic ball bearing opening on the knife and very sharp, super high quality blade. Check it out in a future video, guys, where I'm going to be going through everything that I've got in this bug out bag. Not this time, but just a little teaser here for you guys, showing you the knife and the backpack. Thank you so much, LAPG, LA Police Gear, for sending out this cool gear. And definitely, guys, I'll put the link in the description below, so if this looks interesting to you, you can check these products out. But stay tuned for the future video where you get to see everything that's going in this bug out kit. All right, let's go check this out. Made it through the first one. It stopped in number 2. Yep, I can hear it in there. Yep, I can see it. All right, let's check that one out. It stopped right here, actually entering in to the second one. That's kind of cool. Okay, so literally like 1 1/4. Is that what we want to call that? Okay, here we go. Through the water. All right, let's see how that turned out. Into the second one, and I can see it in the second one right there. It made it, not even a dent in the other side, and the pellet is down there in the bottom of the second jug. All right. All right, I hope that made it through more than just 2. Let's go check it out. All right, I hope. Definitely all the way through the first one, in and out. Oh, this one got stuck in the second jug too. All right, so even though we're obviously stepping it up consistently in power, we're actually, even with the Magnum, only able to make it through the same amount of jugs of water as I was able to make it through with the Maxxim. So that's kind of interesting. I think, just for posterity's sake, what I should go ahead and do is I think I should go ahead and just smack these with something like really significant, and just for fun, and just see how many bottles of water I can go through with like 200 plus foot-pounds. Want to see that? All right, let's go get out the 30 cal. Okay, now before we shoot the water with this 30 cal, I want to point out that we're using a Polymag, Predator Polymag pellet, and just look at the size difference between that Predator Polymag and the 22 cal H&N Hornet. This 30 cal pellet is a lot bigger. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Didn't quite make it all the way through the fourth one. There's part of it in there, and let's see if I can find the pellet. Looks like it decomposed in between the first and the fourth, but here, I'll show you the little remnant that I did find. As I looked through the bottles of water there, and I was kind of just dumping them out, cleaning things up, I found this piece of that 30 cal Polymag inside of one of the jugs. Kind of interesting. It was literally just like shredding apart as it was coming through those water jugs, and it left this ring of lead in the third jug. Kind of cool. There you have it. That's the reigning champion right now as far as the Gamo brake barrel lineup on power. Of course, it's the Gamo Magnum. We all knew that from the very beginning, but still kind of fun to see just what that difference really plays out as far as putting power on target. With the water, didn't make hardly any difference at all, really, like almost none. With the steel, I could definitely see a pretty significant difference between the size of the impact from the lower velocity models to the Magnum here. This one really made a significant dent in that 18 gauge piece of steel. So that was fun. I had a whole lot of fun shooting these things, shooting some water, some steel, getting some crony numbers, and of course there at the end, blowing up the water with the AEA Challenger bullpup. A whole lot of fun there in 30 cal. That's it for today. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much from all of us here at Shooting Gear Reviews. I guess that's really just me. But that is it for today. I'm outdoors. I'm having a whole lot of fun with my air guns. I hope that you guys are too, and I'll see you next time.